All right, glad to have you back. Now, it's time to take a look at the newspapers for today, the headlines on their front pages to see what is trending. We have 5 newspapers we'll be looking at, and to do that with us is the leadership and communications strategist, Dotun Ojon, regular almost every Monday. Good morning to you, Dotun.
Good morning.
How's your weekend?
Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go straight to it. We start with the Nation newspaper. Major story here. Buhari defends travel ban on 50 VIPs as row grows. The rider, Atiku, Falano, Serap Cake. There have been reactions really training the executive order 6 by the president, who said he already got a sanction from the court before he puts it in place. But some are saying that it's going to be retrogressive. Some are saying that it's going to be progressive. What is your stake on this?
The major challenge we are facing as a country now is corruption. And I need to make it clear that the travel ban will not solve the problem of corruption. But what we're trying to do, I think what the president is trying to do, is to improve on CPI, Corruption Perception Index, which has been so bad. In 2016, I think Kenya was ahead of us when it comes to corruption. But by February 2018, we have either overtaken Kenya or Kenya had done something with its own Corruption Perception Index. So it's just about perception. And either we like it or not, the first question you ask yourself is that the people on the list, do they have one case or the other to answer? If yes, I said that that is not going to solve the problem of corruption, but that of perception, it may improve it.
And talking about perception, you know, many Nigerians have been mentioning other names that are not on the list, and that is why some are suspicious, kind of
the federal government itself says it has not published any names. But one thing that is of interest is to note that some of these cases, according to the federal government, has been ongoing for over 7 years, 7 to 10 years. Many of them even preceded, you know, this particular administration.
All right, let's quickly run through the other stories. Presidency to decide shooters' fate over NYSC. Atiku's choice of Obi splits Southeast. Row breaks out. It's a continuous one. Fayose in tears as he leaves Ekiti for Abuja. Please take here.
In tears, or what?
Yeah, in tears.
I'm wondering if the paper captured that particular, or it's just been...
All right.
All right, let's go to the Daily Trust and find out what's trending here. Why we can't achieve January to December budget cycle next year. Federal government shifts 2019 budget submission to November. Sometimes last year, the federal government attempted to submit the document, I think it was in November. And there was a lot of talk about having this January to December cycle. Why are we always falling short?
Here we go again.
And I think the problem is, presently, the problem is with APC, as we speak now. Because APC as a party has the leadership of the National Assembly.
But have we ever gotten it right since 1999?
Of course, it has never been this bad. It has never been this bad. If we want to measure, in fact, that was what led to the argument as to what actually makes a budget year. Is it January to December, or what is, you know, we had that argument back and forth. But the thing is that I do not see them achieving it next year. Let us just be realistic. But if we are working towards achieving it, I think it's achievable.
Shouldn't the big question, Dotun, be, has the current budget been implemented fully? Am I even saying fully? Halfway?
See, I don't want us to ask that question, because over time we have a budget. I have never, in my study of political situation in Nigeria, I don't remember one year that we've been able convincingly, and when I say convincingly, I'm not talking about the government speaking, the people talking and accepting the fact that the government has been able to execute budget 70%.
It's all right. Let's check other stories here. It's also interesting to know that it's an election year, so we hope that there will be much implementation before February. On the front page of the Daily Trust, presidency disowns names of 50 persons on travel ban. That's on page 3. Gunmen attack former Akwa Ibom governor's aide. And Nigeria rejects IMF's recommendation on taxes. So
we go to the Punch newspaper. Major story here is travel ban will hurt economy. That's Atiku talking. Reverse your action. Falana Serap tell Buhari critics should go to court. Presidency firing back there at critics. We already talked about that, so let's just leave it and go to other stories. Stable exchange rates best for Nigeria. CBN governor saying that is best to achieve this rather than to get a buffer for the foreign exchange reserve. Fayose leaves Ekiti for Abuja, says he won't flee. Family fixes Babasala's burial for December the 7th. The comic icon lives on. We're going to bury him pretty soon in December. Well, Nigeria has room to borrow more, says Minister that the country is not running any debt risk, and that in fact its debt ratio or debt limit right now is way better than that of its African peers.
It's a far cry from what we hear from the mainstream.
No, absolutely. I think we still have room to borrow more. But the question is this: when you borrow and you invest it in infrastructure, it's going to help your economy. Because either we like it or not, there are so many people that are going to benefit from the process. But people are not looking at the strategy of China. And that's my challenge with Nigeria, the issue of strategy. If China is giving you an amount of money, let's say $100 billion, and they want to invest it in one particular infrastructure, because they have population issue like us, they are also going to let you understand that the team lead is going to come from China. The team lead will bring as many engineers as possible. And once they get here, it is the government's responsibility to also take care of them. In fact, the government go most of the times as long as hiring cook for them. Now, when the government will still use part of the loan to pay them. And they will not get to spend 1% of their salary in Nigeria. What have you done? You have helped China to develop its own economy.
To take care of some of its people as well.
Some of its people. So when you are borrowing, you need to be strategic as much as you think you still have the room. How strategic are we? We can't just be borrowing and we use it the way we like.
And like people say every time, what are you using the loans you're getting for? Okay, so FG to review power firm's performance next year. Many would say that that is coming at a good time. Should be around December 2019. And that is expected to be the final review since, you know, the discos got the handing of the power sector, a portion of it anyways. Let's just see how that goes.
Well, let's turn our attention to the New Telegraph. My grounds with Buhari's government. Bishop Oyedepo explains why he was at OBJ. Atiku's reconciliation meeting says he has not received money from any politician. The team that followed Atiku to Obasanjo's place is very interesting, representing religious leadership and all of that. You know, this conversation has been on for long, whether religious leaders should have a say in politics. But there are some who would say there's freedom of association.
No, if you look at historically, at every point in time, when there's crisis in the community, these are the people that naturally you run to. In the traditional Yoruba community or African community.
Yes.
When there's an issue in the community, they go to the Ifa priest, come and tell us the way forward. So historically, even biblically, you see that this has always been consistent.
And you know that the Catholic Church has done a lot, you know, for countries like DRC, you know, CAR, you know, when there's crisis.
In 2014, there was supposed to be a meeting between former President Obasanjo and former President Goodluck Jonathan.
That's right.
And from reliable source, I was told that the man insisted that I need some witnesses. Oyedepo has to be there. Adeboye has to be there. So at one point or the other, we must not divorce totally because they are part of the polity. But again, the role they play must be in accordance, not just with the law of the land, but the logic of the people.
It's all right.
Logic.
So we say that it's a peace move, whether or not they were involved in the endorsement, because that's really where the conversation is, but we'll get to details of that. Let's move on very quickly and see all the stories on the front page of the New Telegraph. Peter Obi, Southeast governors must respect Atiku's choice. That's coming from Jonathan. Kano denies $5 million bribery allegation against governor. NGE task federal government INEC on security, vote by incredible polls. And Red Cross raises alarm over fate of abducted health workers. Federal government, no plan to raise taxes in Nigeria. CBN, stable exchange rate better than building reserves.
I'm happy that's coming from the CBN. You know, at a point, I call this government MMM government, more money. Because you think that the best thing you can do...
As MMM, more money.
Yes, more money. Because you may be tempted if you are running an economy like ours. This government inherited a very bad economy. So if you are the leader of the government, you may be tempted to think you need more money. And I said it the other time that what we need, even at the point that the government was crying there was no money, we had enough money in Nigeria. All we needed is more management, not more money. We cut it here and there, then we patch it, then we move on. But in a country where we had at a point, not under this government, at a point we had the National Assembly being serviced with close to 25% of the national budget. It happened in this country. So you can't expect to run an economy.
Why is this strategy really of helping the Naira compete with foreign denominations, currencies healthy?
We have put in a lot of strategy.
Okay.
But I tell you that the most sustainable We can continue to compare China, compare India. What did they do differently? Because when it comes to religion, they are also religious people. When it comes to population, they have it. Maybe our level of greed is a little bit higher than theirs.
Okay,
what did they do
let's just go to the last paper.
What they did differently was to grow their economy internally, rely on your animals within to produce a small scale.
Dotun, we have so many campaigns. Buy Nigeria, grow the Naira and all that, but how far so far? Let's go to the last paper, but of course not the least. The point. Arawa youths rally over 60 zonal groups against Buhari, queue behind Atiku. They are on their own. ACF is talking now. The youth wing of ACF, the Arawa Consultative Forum, is saying that it's going to, back the opposition candidate, the PDP Atiku.
You see,
well, the major group now is saying that no, that it's not going to support any candidate.
It's expected. Some have said that this is a battle between the Northeast and the Northwest.
Not necessarily.
But generally now,
not necessarily.
Endorsing any candidate.
Yeah, you see, 2019, when I hear some people in the other part in PDP say, oh, we will win 2019, I laugh. When I hear the people from the other party, APC, say, oh, we don't have issues, I laugh. In reality, partisan politics will not allow you to see the reality of things. What's the reality now? The reality now is that both candidates have 50-50. Go and write this thing I'm saying down. 50-50 chance, because there are two things that will determine the 2019 election.
Which are?
One is corruption and anti-corruption. APC seems to, when it comes to perception, to be better. APC candidate is better than PDP candidate when it comes to perception. Because you see Buhari and you know that this man will not steal. I believe he will not steal. But whether it's cautioning people around him, it's a different thing entirely. And you see the other person, and you're like, you are not totally sure whether this man will not steal. Now the second one is unity and disunity. Buhari does not have the capacity, he has not expressed the capacity to totally unite the nation. But the other one is like a pan-Nigeria person. So these are the two major factors. The third one is silent, which is money, and they both have money.
But at the end of the day, rather, power belongs to the people, and in a democratic setting, the people decide who becomes their
leadership and communication strategies. Dr. Ojo, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure always.